Welcome to the Bellarine Community Health Emergency Management Plan training session. In this session, we are covering Module 8 Emergency Assembly Areas. This training is run by Kaizen Synergy Law Firm. If you do have any questions regarding this training or the information provided within it, including the module information, then please contact Karen Digby, Michelle Day, or the Executive Management Group at Bellarine Community Health. Today's session, we're going to be covering off Module 8 around the emergency management training sessions. During this session, it is important to actually look at key specific emergency assembly areas. This information has been last updated on Tuesday the 15th of November 2022. In today's session, we are going to be looking at each of the assembly areas, terminating emergency responses, communication warnings, emergency response procedures by incident type, and also a range of evacuation procedures as well too. You will find that this document has been updated throughout 2022, and the latest version is currently shown here. In summary, the emergency assembly areas are based on individual sites. Site Queenscliff, the emergency assembly area, is the grassed area in front of the medical centre and main entrance, along with the car park adjacent to the Eric Tollway units and community supporting and nursing programs. At Ocean Grove site, it is the corner of President's Avenue and the avenue next to the rear car park. At Headspace, it is in front of the fenced walkway leading into the Bellarine Secondary College. At Drysdale, it is the front nature strip, and at Port Arlington site, it is beside the driveway adjacent to Fenwick Street. In relation to terminating the emergency response, well, this responsibility is managed by the emergency warden, the deputy or chief warden if they are on site. They are the only persons who can actually notify the all clear declaration, and then only after consultation with the relevant emergency services can the all clear be given. It is important to note that evacuees must remain at the emergency assembly area until such time as the all clear is given. During communications and warnings, essentially all of this will be managed for staff and clients and the broader community, again by the emergency wardens, deputy or chief wardens as they are on site as well too. There are a number of key public contact numbers that you may also refer to, and this includes for the police and country fire authority, along with the state emergency services and also Victorian bushfire emergency information line and Victorian emergency recovery line as well too. And this is all within Module 8 of the Emergency Management Plan. In terms of emergency information for the community, then again, you will actually hear from key control agencies and police, including also linking in with the ABC Corporation, and also radio stations will also be activated as part of the official emergency radio stations for Victoria as well. Other control agencies of providing information to the community may include the Emergency Services App, Emergency Services Alert, radio stations, television, print media, and a range of other media as well too. For BCH staff and clients, you will be referred to the relevant websites, call centres, or other communication channels for updates. There is also the special needs and priority groups. Again, for special consideration should be given to warning priority groups, including older persons, people with disabilities, and people from linguistic or cultural diverse communities. Individuals on the vulnerable persons register who reside within the area at risk may require emergency services to make contact so that advice can be given about the event or evacuation arrangements made if necessary. There may also be community meetings, and if the scale of the emergency warrants a public briefing or media briefing, the control agency, along with Victoria Police and other relevant emergency services, may plan for such an event. Prior to any information being delivered, the communications manager at BCH would consult with the relevant emergency agencies to ensure that the appropriate target audience is identified, the content is accurate, and if further briefings might be required, and timeframes for these as well too. For BCH client and staff communications, again, releasing information is the responsibility of the control agencies in conjunction with police, municipal emergency response manager, and if a multi-agency operation is underway, then again, BCH can communicate its own operations in relation to BCH services and also its own infrastructure as well. Any information by BCH must be approved during this time by the CEO, and to ensure accuracy and consistency should be reviewed by the communications manager as well too. It is also important to look at the different categories as well too. These include 3 different categories, being pre-impact, during impact, and post-impact. Now, pre-impact is information that should be enabled clients and staff to take reasonable measures to prevent or lessen the impact of the emergency and to cope during the impact phase. During the impact is essentially where information should be given about the details of the impact of the emergency and what action can be taken by clients and staff regarding their immediate needs and relief options. And post-impact, again, where this essentially covers where you need to maintain the flow of information to those in need of assistance and direction regarding short and long-term recovery. Now, there are clear guidelines on this as listed here in Module 8 around what particulars the communication should include, and also how this can be done through different media channels as well too. What we're also seeing as well is that there is an emergency response by procedures by incident type. Now, there are a number of different incident types that we have listed within this module. These include evacuation procedures for community health facilities during fire, personal threat or attack by armed and dangerous persons, medical emergency, gas leaks, dangerous goods and incidents, flood, storm and damage, earthquake and structural damage or collapse, bomb threats, code red declarations, and also heat health alerts. Each one of these, there is associated with it a deed of delegation, which is consistent with the bushfire at risk register as well, or the BAR register, which means that it may mean that specific services may not close down all at once, but essential programs like medical may remain open for extended durations during an emergency event. Now, each one of those criteria areas is addressed here, and we do suggest that program areas and executive directors review their specific risk descriptions and areas to ensure compliance during this emergency period. What we also have within Module 8 is the specific procedures for covering evacuations, as I've mentioned previously, fire in terms of what needs to happen and when, which essentially starts with notifying the fire brigade by dialing 000, operating the manual call point, for example, building B at Points Lonsdale if required, and notify reception immediately. In terms of other threats like personal threat or attack by armed and dangerous person, in the event of the activation of a duress alarm or armed and dangerous persons being present, emergency wardens and staff should follow these steps with extreme caution, and only if it is safe to do so. Now, each one of these areas we do suggest you review with your individual program areas in terms of looking at who is to do what and when. These include even gas leaks. So, for example, as soon as a gas leak is identified, notify the fire brigade by dialing 000, notify reception and management immediately. And essentially in each of these dot points is what the emergency wardens will then do in terms of managing and evacuating personnel. It also means that if there is things like a dangerous goods incident as well too, then again notify the fire brigade by dialing 000 and notify the emergency wardens immediately. In this case, the emergency wardens will take specific actions as listed here within the procedure. The same thing happens if there's storm damage, including floods. In this circumstance, notify the emergency warden and management immediately. If urgent assistance is required, then call the SES and also the fire brigades on these numbers in front of you. If there is structural damage or collapse, including an earthquake, then again notify reception immediately. And also, if urgent assistance is required, then contacting the SES and fire brigades. And again, you have specific actions that the emergency wardens will take. Again, if there's also a specific bomb threat, then the recipients of the telephone bomb threats will keep the caller talking. Do not hang up, as this may assist in tracing the call. They are asked to remain calm and do not say anything that may encourage irrational behaviour. Note as many details as possible on the bomb threat checklist. This is located in the appendix of this document, which I will show you, and also look at what the warden, notifying the wardens in terms of what they will actually do. Let me just jump directly to the checklist that you can see as well too. This is located at the end of this document, and essentially the checklist allows receptions to take information very quickly and also easily, and also record this information and be able to pass it on as well. We also find, moving back up the page, that such situations where there is a code red, the Bureau of Meteorology determines the fire danger index for each of the 9 districts. Where there is a code red, again, the fire wardens will notify BCH staff and sites and also take appropriate action where required. And that would include, in this case, cancelling all services and programs, with the exception of palliative care services for terminally ill clients receiving end-of-life care. Meals will not be delivered to recipients on Meals on Wheels, and the courier service will not operate as well too. There is also specific activities that the wardens will also direct executive directors and their program areas to follow. As I mentioned, if there is any questions on this material, then we do ask you to direct these to Karen Digby, Michelle Day, and the Executive Management Group. It is important to be aware of what your responsibilities are. Thank you for attending this Bellarine Community Health Emergency Management Training run by Kaizen Synergy Law Firm. We look forward to seeing you in the next training session. Bye for now.